Is this lousy attitude of yours because of my altercation with Inspector Lockhart? Did he put you up to this?
Sir, the Inspector has nothing to do with it. I'm telling you the same thing I tell anyone seeking a missing person.
Good day, gentlemen. Forgive the intrusion. Captain Stenwick, this is my colleague Sherlock Holmes, the consulting detective I told you about.
At last, a professional. This useless officer refuses to do anything about Kimmy here, my missing servant. What was your name again? I shall be certain to inform your superiors.
Sergeant Ruffles. And it's my superiors who made this decision, sir.
Why has the police department decided not to help?
We investigate murders, thefts, fraud, arson, real crimes. A servant walking away from his master is not our highest priority. That said, if we find Kimahia breaking the law, we'll be sure to notify Captain Stenwick.
Have there been other disappearances lately?
Of course, here and there. But when life is tough and opportunity comes knocking, you can't blame those who answer. Now, I must be off. Best of luck in your search.
You heard that, didn't you? The way that man spoke to me. I shall need your written testimony, then we can lodge a complaint.
Captain, perhaps Mr. Holmes' time is better spent learning about your servant, so that he may begin his investigation.
Ah, yes. Quite right. Fire away.
Tell me about Kimahia.
He's foreign. A Maori. All the way from New Zealand. Biggest man you've ever seen, and as strong as two. Dark hair and fearsome tattoos. He doesn't speak a whit of English. Never bothered to learn. But I made do with pointing. I invested a lot of money in him, so he must be found.
When did you last see your servant?
Kimmy here normally brings me the morning papers, but yesterday I had to get them myself. He must have escaped the night before yesterday.
May I see your servant's bedroom?
His shack is in the garden. You can't miss it.
Did you search the room?
Of course, but only to check he wasn't lying dead inside. Everything seemed normal at a glance.
Is there any reason Kimahia may have left?
I should think not. He had all he could have wanted. Gainful employment, new clothes, and all the cabbage he could eat.
I take it this is the first time Kimahia has vanished?
Undoubtedly. The man seemed terrified of the city. I think it was all the noise. He never left this estate. Should he cause any damage, I will bear the responsibility, for it was I who rescued him from savagery and brought him here to England in the first place.
Did Kimahia make off with anything of value?
Heavens, no. I would have mentioned it to Sergeant Ruffles.
Still, he must have fled with some money on his person.
No. I kept his wages in my safe. For security.
All right, Captain. I think I have enough to get started. We shall first take a look around the mansion.
Go ahead. I'll be here, mentally drafting my complaint.
Could have left these tracks. They seem fresh. This lock is quite unusual. It appears that the key should be bent to the right. A scrap of Hessian. These were sturdy boxes. It would have required a serious blow to break them. Impressive. The sack of grain retained the shape of an impact. Someone hit their head here. A small navy spyglass. Button chops, the remains of a meal. The ashes are long since cold. Heavy chemical odor. Lend me your nose, Doctor.
Ah, I'll never forget that smell after my time in Afghanistan. That's an opioid, Mr. Holmes, a narcotic.
Is this a Tanifar, a Maori water spirit, or something else?
Either way, it's giving me chills.
No air coming through it. A Maori nose flute. Ngurus, they're called. Clothes made of Hessian. Is Stenwick really so miserly?
Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed? You think you know someone?
Looks like a knee print. A shoe print, roughly size 11, with a worn-out sole. These are a workman's boots. Chewing tobacco. Someone knelt here. The amount of chewing tobacco suggests they were waiting a while.
Amazing, Mr. Holmes. To read the ground like an open book.
Do you happen to know Kimahir's shoe size?
I wouldn't have the foggiest. But I'm sure it was enormous. Not that it matters. He spent his life barefoot. Despite my best efforts, he simply did not take to shoes.
The door to your garden has an interesting lock.
Yes, I have uncommon locks on every door of my mansion. It makes them harder to pick. Kimmy here and I both had a set of keys.
I'll need to borrow them.
No, you'll need to do what I tell you to do. Examine the garden.
Has Kimahir ever indulged in tobacco?
No, the man doesn't even drink.
Are you certain? I found chewing tobacco in the garden.
I controlled Kimihir's expenses since he struggled with the currency. I would have known if he used tobacco.
I came across a pile of Hessian clothes in the shack. Are they Kimahir's?
Yes, I had to give him something to clothe himself. He seemed unfazed by his bare skin, but I found it distracting. I thought you were meant to be intelligent.
Is this spyglass familiar?
I don't recognize it.
Could it be Kimahir's, perhaps?
I doubt it. I never saw him with it, nor could I suggest how he might have come by it.
Do you think Kimmy here had an accomplice in his escape?
The rag reeks of smoke. Someone plugged the chimney. Someone moved a cart to this spot and then took it elsewhere. Can't see it anywhere in the garden. Surveilling from afar, the intruder waited for a window of opportunity. When Kimahir went to sleep, the man crept up to the shack and slipped narcotics down the chimney pipe, then blocked it with a cloth. Kimahir inhaled the sedative and fell into a deep sleep. The intruder tried to move him, but the man was heavier than expected. The intruder fell on the sack and dropped his spyglass. In order to transport the servant, he had to use the cart. The final challenge was opening the garden door. Luckily for our intruder, Kimahir had the key in his shack.
Remarkable. It makes total sense. Stenwick makes his servant live in a tool shed. You think you know someone.
You'd best have found something by now, gentlemen.
I found the residue of narcotics in Kimahir's brazier. There are several explanations, perhaps your servant's recreational interest, or an attempt at poisoning.
Cut to the chase, Mr. Holmes.
You said that you checked the shack earlier. Did you notice the cart tracks near it? Now, one ought to expect a servant to make regular use of such a thing. Indeed, I would have overlooked the detail were it not for the cart's absence. If, as you say, Kimahir never leaves your estate, then where did it go?
I expect answers from you, Mr. Holmes, not questions.
I fear that someone may have spied upon Kimahir. Likely the owner of the spyglass I found earlier. It appears they were watching for some time, as there was an impressive amount of chewing tobacco on the ground.
And your point?
I won't keep you in suspense any longer, Captain. Kimahir was abducted by the owner of the spyglass. When your servant fell asleep, he slipped a narcotic into Kimahir's brazier to make him sleep even more soundly. In order to carry a man as large as Kimahir, the intruder stole the cart and rolled him right out of your garden.
Now, hold on. All this simply to tell me what I already know? Why haven't you found him yet?
I only arrived a moment ago. It is, frankly, incredible that I have already deduced so much.
Every second you dawdle here, waiting for me to stroke your ego, is another second wasted. I'm not interested in the how, the why, or the who. I am only interested in recovering my investment. Spare me the claptrap, boy, and go and fetch my servant.
Truly, there is no better evidence of a man's nature than the way he treats those who help him. And you, sir, are a brute. The cruelty of your ignorance about the Maori people, your selfish attitude to a man's kidnapping.
The point is, Captain, we're telling you this for a reason. The intruder fled through the garden door, and we need a key to follow his trail.
Well, then you should have led with that. Here you go. I hope you'll return soon with good news. And in the meantime, please teach your companion the art of brevity.